Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Health Hub, coming to you straight from Oliver Chiropractic Wellness Clinic here in Evanston. We're all about diving deep into wellness, and today we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, for sure.
Scars.
Mhm.
We've all got them, whether they're from,
Absolutely.
a childhood tumble
Yeah.
or maybe something a little more serious like surgery.
Exactly.
And while we all know scars are like these little badges of honor,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they can be a bit more than just a cosmetic thing.
Right.
They can actually cause some real discomfort and even affect how we move.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So to help us understand all things scar tissue and maybe even some ways to manage it, we've got a specialist right here from the clinic.
Hi, everybody.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is scar tissue?
Well, when you have an injury, your body is really amazing at healing itself.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that healing process involves laying down collagen fibers to kind of close up the wound. You can almost think of it as like internal scaffolding.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, and that clump of collagen that forms, that's basically your scar tissue.
So it's like the body's way of patching things up.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing sometimes that patching up isn't always picture perfect.
Yeah, sometimes it's not quite so neat and tidy.
Right.
Sometimes that collagen, it can get a little overzealous, and instead of forming a nice, neat line, it can actually start sticking to surrounding tissues like muscles, tendons even.
Oh, wow. So it's not just like on the surface, it's going deeper.
Exactly, it's going deeper, and that's when you start running into problems like, discomfort, stiffness, and you can't move as freely as you used to.
And that's where we get to those contractures that you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. So a contracture is when that scar tissue gets so tight that it's actually restricting your movement.
Like pulling on things.
Yeah, pulling and tightening. So imagine trying to bend your elbow, but that scar tissue is holding you back, making it really tough to fully extend.
Ugh, that sounds really uncomfortable.
It can be very uncomfortable and even painful.
So it sounds like scar tissue isn't something to just ignore, especially if it's causing problems.
Yeah, that's right. It's important to address it.
So what can be done about it? I mean, is it a life sentence, or are there ways to actually improve things?
It's definitely not a life sentence. While some scars might fade on their own over time, there are definitely ways to manage them and even improve them.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And one of the most interesting treatments that we're using here at the clinic is shockwave therapy.
Shockwave therapy. Okay. Now that sounds a little intimidating, like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? It does have a bit of a futuristic ring to it,
It does.
but it's actually a very safe and non-invasive treatment.
Okay, good to know.
So essentially what it is we're using acoustic waves, so like targeted pulses of energy to stimulate healing on a cellular level.
So it's like sound waves.
Exactly, sound waves.
Okay, but how does that help with scar tissue?
Well, you can think of these sound waves as like tiny little hammers that are gently tapping on that scar tissue.
Okay. And those vibrations, they actually break down the excess collagen, soften the tissue, and increase blood flow to the area.
Wow.
And that helps your body reabsorb the scar tissue and start growing new, healthier tissue.
So it's not just like masking the problem, it's actually going in and helping the body heal better.
Exactly. It's working with your body's natural healing process to promote better healing.
That's amazing.
So, things like massage therapy, they can definitely be helpful for flexibility and reducing some tension on the surface.
Right.
But shockwave therapy, it's more targeted, those sound waves. They can actually reach deeper into the tissue and break up those stubborn adhesions that massage might not be able to get to.
It's like getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
And I've heard that shockwave therapy can also make the scar look better, too.
That's right. By breaking down that excess collagen and promoting healthy tissue growth, it can help flatten those raised scars, reduce redness, and just improve the overall texture of the skin.
So it's like a win-win. Exactly. It's like giving your body a little extra help to heal more effectively.
This reminds me of a patient I was talking to recently. She had knee surgery a while back and was left with this thick, painful scar. And it was really limiting her movement. She tried different things, massage, physical therapy, but nothing seemed to work.
Right.
And then she tried shockwave therapy. She was just amazed by the results.
Wow.
She was able to move so much better. The pain went down significantly, and the scar itself was way less noticeable.
That's incredible.
It really was like a new knee.
That's a great example of how shockwave therapy can really make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and it's amazing to think that we can now target healing in such a precise way.
It really is cutting-edge technology.
So for our listeners out there who are dealing with, stubborn scar tissue and are intrigued by this shockwave therapy, what would you recommend as a next step?
Well, the best thing to do is always to reach out to a healthcare professional who specializes in this area. They can assess your individual situation, see if shockwave therapy is right for you, and then put together a treatment plan that's tailored to your
That
needs.
makes sense.
Because everyone's different, every scar is different, so it's important to have that personalized approach.
That's great advice. And for our listeners here in the Edmonton area, you're in luck because Oliver Chiropractic Wellness Clinic offers shockwave therapy.
That's right.
You can find all the details on our website or give us a call to book a consultation.
It's definitely worth exploring if you're struggling with scar tissue.
It's amazing how far we've come in terms of scar management.
It really is.
And who knows what the future holds?
Yeah.
Maybe one day those pesky post-surgery scars will be a thing of the past.
I hope so.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise on this fascinating topic.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's been a great deep dive into the world of scar tissue and shockwave therapy. And that's it for this episode of the Health Hub. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of wellness. Stay healthy, Edmonton.
Bye, everyone.